Today is March 15, 2026. It is 2:37 a.m. This is like video number 4 or 5. There's a lot to share with you. So usually when I have that energy to record, I'll just record and then I'll suffer through the editing because I hate editing, but it needs to be done. So let's go on X. I'm just gonna continue. This is the first tweet. Fatima Hosima was a photojournalist in Gaza. A documentary was made about her. It got accepted into the Cannes Film Festival. Israel found out 24 hours later. She and 10 members of her family, including her pregnant sister, were murdered by the IDF. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's like they don't want to take any criticism, but they keep on doing negativity. That reminds me of William. Not just William, the royal family. They do not want to change. They want to continue doing their barbaric behavior, and then they expect people to comply with their stupidity. Wow. Unbelievable. This is Israel. All right, let's listen. That is sad. Very sad. Come on, play.
Fatima Husana was a photojournalist in Gaza. A documentary was just made about her, and it got accepted into the Cannes Film Festival 2 days ago. Once Israel found out, 24 hours later, she was murdered by the IDF, including 10 of her family members and her pregnant sister. They dropped a bomb on their house and killed them all.
Wow.
Her one wish was that if Israel kills her, which she knew to be a distinct possibility, that that people speak out on her behalf and make sure that they are loud when she dies. So this is me trying to fulfill her wish and being loud on her behalf. Israel has become what it most feared and despised. It's become a terrorist state. It's taken over land in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria. It's now killed more journalists in this conflict than all other conflicts in the world combined. It has killed more journalists now than ever recorded in history before, in any conflict. And they keep saying, oh, it's an accident. Oh, it was we were trying to get Hamas. Here, they're barely even making an excuse. I think they're trying to send a message to the world that if you dare oppose us, if you're in Gaza, and if you're a reporter trying to tell the world about it, we'll kill you.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What is this now? Wow. This one, the caption just said, wow. Let me go into it and listen. 54 seconds.
Jews all over the world to consider what this man, Benjamin Netanyahu, and his right-wing government is doing to the Jewish people all over the world. They are endangering the Jewish population all over the world. He is the most dangerous thing to allow this to happen to children and civilians of all ages in Gaza, for whatever reason, is unconscionable and unthinkable. And I ask you Jews everywhere all over the world to spend some time alone and think, is this acceptable and sustainable? How could it be done to you and your ancestors, and you turn around and you do it to someone else?
I appreciate
Jews.
Wow. This is what I'm saying. They're not the real Jews. Those Zionists, they're not the real Jews. They are the Nazis. Because the same behavior that were done to the Jews during the Holocaust, they're doing it to the Palestinian. So oh fuck, it's unbelievable. Let's go to the next tweet. Unbelievable. All right, next tweet. Okay, so now the Jews, because their homeland, Israel, is being bombed, Now they left Israel. They're going wherever they're going, unlike the Palestinian who couldn't leave. They literally were blocking the Palestinian. Food were coming to the Palestinian. They stopped those trucks. They just throw the food all over, wasted. Okay, so now that their homeland is being bombed, they have the option of leaving, which tells you the Middle East, the West Bank, was never theirs. Because if they could leave, go to another country freely like that, which means they were just occupant. They were not the real Jews. The real Jews that were in the area in Iraq and all of that, they didn't even accept them to come in. So now they are in, Brazil. All right? Breaking. Israeli tourists were beaten and kicked out of a beach in Brazil after assaulting a woman carrying a Palestinian flag. They cause trouble wherever they go. Yeah, they feel like, and the thing is that they train them. They train them to feel like it, like they own everything. Anybody else with darker skin, they train them to just do the unthinkable. You could feel it in yourself. All right, let's watch. There will be screenshot in between, unfortunately. It's everywhere they go. They do that. I have this part too. Let's see here. Let me pause. Breaking. Big crowd gathered on a beach in Brazil after Israeli tourists assaulted a woman carrying a Palestinian flag. As soon as people heard they were Israelis, the whole beach joined in, telling them to get the hell out of the country. And the other thing as well, I may have this further down as well. Actually, it was right next. The thing is that everywhere they go, this is what they do. There's a video that I highlighted in one of my videos of a YouTube channel that was highlighting what Jews have done to area in New Jersey. They came in, they vote, and they run for office, and then they destroy the public school, and then the money that was supposed to go to public school go to them, which is private. And then the public school had to shut down, and then go watch that video. I shared it on, oh my God, I will have to look for it, and then I'll show you the screenshot of it. I have the screenshot of that video. You could go and search for it. All right, so let's watch this. 43 seconds. This is the thing. People were watching. All right, let's go to the next tweet. I think that's that video because I see the same number for the link. Okay, so that was that. I just share it. All right, let's pause. Okay, Brazil. A group of Israeli tourists harassed a Brazilian who attended a concert with Palestinian flag near Allianz Park, sorry if I pronounce it wrong, and Sao Paulo. In the footage, Free Palestine chants can be heard directed at the Zionist tourists. Okay, 31 seconds.
Genocide! Genocide! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Go out of my country! Genocide! Go out! Free Palestine! Genocide! 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 Genocide of Brazil! Genocide! Genocide of Brazil! Free Palestine! Let's go!
You see, this is the same thing that's gonna happen to American, because America helped them carry out that unthinkable, barbaric, unnecessary, destructive of lives. American, be prepared to expect this type of things once you say you are American. This is what Trump just did. Okay? Alright, there's more video. Okay, I shared this already, so I'm not gonna share it again. Let's go to the next tweet. I'm leaving the comments, too much to share, and I don't have time to go over all of them. Okay, a quick history of colonial Latin America.
Everybody keeps asking, why do Latinos consistently align themselves with whiteness? Well, there is a historical reason for that, and we're going to get into it. All of this starts in Latin America and the Caribbean during colonization. At this time, in that region, there were 3 major human trafficking organizations: the British, the French, and the Spanish. They all had colonies in Latin America and the Caribbean, and they were all engaging in human trafficking, aka slavery. But the 3 countries had very different approaches to how they organized society. The British were known to be the harshest of the human traffickers in this region. Under British colonial rule, there were strict and rigid racial boundaries. Basically, there was the white people and the non-white people, and that was it. There was no mobility between the two. If you were born enslaved, you were probably gonna die enslaved. And the British were also known for being the most brutal traffickers out of them all. Then you have the French. They weren't as brutal as the British, and they weren't as rigid in their racial boundary.
From my understanding, I think the French, well, slavery, but they were very, very harsh against the Haitians. Okay, but let's continue. She might know more than I do.
But they were rigid as well. You can see here the caste system from Haiti, which was then known as Saint-Domingue. There's essentially 3 classes here: white people, colored people, and slaves. And as you can see, the white people are split up into the Grand Blanc, which are the wealthy planters, and the Petit Blanc, which are the merchants and the officials. And you have the gens de couleur. They are separated by free people by virtue of having white parentage, aka mixed people, and then free people who purchased their freedom. And lastly, you got the black people who are enslaved. So as you can see here, there's more stratification of their racial classification than in the British colonies, which were essentially white and non-white. There was some porousness between racial distinctions, but ultimately it was still very rigid in the French colonies, and what you were born into is what you would die into. Social mobility, upward mobility really wasn't a thing, which is part of the reason why the Haitian Revolution started. And now for the Spanish colonial system. This is the caste system of Latin America. As you can see, there are so many different categories that you can be placed into. It is not the binary white or non-white that you see in British colony. And it is much more complex than what you see in French colony caste systems. And that's because the Spanish had a very porous racial boundary system. The Spanish were much more
flexible, I guess. Damn, I would love to hear more. I don't know where this came from, if it's from TikTok or whatever. So if you know where she's at, go follow her and listen to more. And this is what's happening with next door with Haiti. They were more flexible with their whiteness, and that's why a lot of dark Dominican think they're better. But I come across some videos where Black Dominicans are speaking against the system that's happening in Dominican Republic, the way they're treating Haitians. So I don't want to put all of them on the same umbrella. Okay, so that was that. Okay, what is that? Okay, so that's something different Invictus. Let's continue with Israeli. I've shared a good portion of things. Now they're going outside of Israel and they're showing themselves for who they are, and people are not welcoming them. And that's the way it should be, because if you let them be comfortable, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna carry out the same behavior what they did in the Middle East, and then kick you out of your own land. All right, so too many examples have said before us to not treat them welcoming like that. All right, next tweet. Beware, Zionists eating Kenyan children, Mr. Lumumba Amin says. All right, let's listen. There's some comments. You could pause and read. This one is saying blatant lies. That's the one thing that can happen. Okay, from the Epstein file, we've heard enough. It's very unthinkable, but these people are doing it. All right, so there's all of that. Let's listen. Hopefully I don't have anything to say. You know what? Let me let it play.
This is disturbing. Kenyans, they're eating Kenyan children. This is in the Epstein files. This is the guy who is discussing this matter. For him, is just reading the emails of those people. This is disturbing. Kenyans, they're eating Kenyan children. This is in the Epstein files. This is the guy who is discussing this matter. For him, is just reading the emails of those people discussing their holidays in Kenya and picking a child or two from Kenya and taking it back to Mr. Epstein, probably for eating. Now, I've been warning people, Africans particularly, that beware. When you see these people coming as tourists, don't think they're just innocent people coming with there is some income because they're bringing in foreign currency and all that. In fact, even in the video that the guy is reading, the lady who writes the email is asking, actually seems to be realizing that Madonna's school somewhere in South Africa, there, is it Namibia or Zambia, is probably such an operation as well. It's like a farm for collecting meat, a school of African children. For them, they see it as meat that they will be picking once in a while, one or two, and taking back to be eaten. This is very, very disturbing. Another email in there, they discuss Bill Gates. Bill Gates is discussing with Jeffrey Epstein about health data, global health data, getting data about people's health from all governments, and also agricultural data. I've been hearing several African countries refusing to make this new America First health agreement with America. It seems those countries have gone and read what is in the Epstein files. Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein are discussing health data of the world and to collect it all. Remember that Jeffrey Epstein is an Israeli agent on a mission to entrap people in sexual acts, to make those people submit to any of Israel's demands. So Bill Gates discussing health data, then it seems that it is one of Israel's demands to him. And now, because the Epstein files have come out, Bill Gates can't do it the way he wanted to, and now they are doing it through the American government. Remember, Trump is also in there. They have him entrapped. He's actually compromised. And so they're saying probably like, okay, if Bill Gates can't go and do it, now Trump, you are the one in power now in the US. I want this, we want you to do this for us as well. Just like we want you to bomb Iran. We want you to get the health data. We want you to, all of that is what is happening. I'm reading here the information of this guy who is reading all these Epstein files every single day, so that you can get those who are lazy to go and read, just follow this person. He's there on social media, and you can at least be listening to some of this information. A lot of it is for their politics abroad and other things, but there are critical global issues in there. The cannibals are on the attack, and we are the people they see as their prey in all sorts of things, whether physically eating human flesh, or whether it is resources, whether it is health data, whether whatever it is. Something is going on, and it's very dangerous. And to stay uninformed about it is actually stupid.
All right. The visual of it have stopped like somewhere here. So I just let you listen because I can even show the video anyway. I will have to put screenshot. So I hope you listen to what he was saying. All right, let's go to the next tweet. People are talking. They're not letting go the Epstein file. Oh my God, this is long. All right, urgent. Netanyahu just issued a demand to the world. I demand that Western government do what is necessary to fight anti-Semitism and provide security for Jews worldwide. I demand action now or else there will be consequences. This is what the blackmail. We should not be surprised. They're using the blackmail as a way to get what they want, to do bad things. A prime minister of a foreign country demanding action, threaten consequences, and by the way, they claim allegedly that he died. So I don't know. All right, let that sink in. Let me read that again. A prime minister of a foreign country demanding action, threaten consequences. Let that sink in. He doesn't ask, he demands. He doesn't negotiate, he threatens. This is not diplomacy. This is domination. One leader telling the world what to do or else. Anti-Semitism is real. It must be fought, but Netanyahu doesn't fight it. He uses it. That's what I've been saying. From what I see, they use the what they did to the real Jews, the Holocaust, and make it theirs, and then they use it as a shield. Whenever anybody start confronting them of their behavior, they use it as a shield, saying, oh, you against Jews, you this, you that. Nah. All right, I'm glad people are seeing it for what it is. This one was posted yesterday. I don't know if it's real, because as far as I'm concerned, they're claiming he's dead. So I'm going to say allegedly. He bombs Gaza, calls it defense. He kills children, call it precision. He occupies land, call it security. And when the world objects, he plays the victim, demand protection, threaten consequences. The same man whose soldiers rape prisoners, whose government funds settlements, whose war crimes are documented daily. Now he demands action or else. Or else what? More bombs, more occupation, more genocide? The world should answer no. No demands, no threats, no more. Anti-Semitism is real. Netanyahu is not its defender. He's its exploiter. The difference is everything. Yeah, he's exploited the Jewish pain. He has making it even worse for the real Jews.
אני דורש מממשלות המערב לעשות את מה שנדרש כדי להילחם באנטישמיות ולתת את הביטחון הדרוש, את ההבטחה הדרושה לקהילות היהודיות בעולם. וכדאי שיקשיבו לאזהרות שלנו. אני דורש מהם פעולה עכשיו. אני דורש...
It's playing over. Do we have two Netanyahu, same faces? Okay, so there's that here. Alright. Make it as you wish. I'm gonna put allegedly, but we've seen what it is. People are seeing it. All right, so these, I have a couple tweets where different countries are talking about what's going on, US, Russia, and Israel. Breaking. China reject Trump's call to send troops to the Strait of Hormuz. Hormuz is a sovereign right for Iran. All right, so there's that here. That's just an image. That's an AI. Look at this. India. There's China. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at this. I didn't know this was going. America. Bomb it. Let's leave that alone. There's the area here. They control it. Oh my lord. There's a tweet that I came across that Gaddafi's daughter, okay, Aisha Gaddafi, warns Iran not to repeat Libya's mistake, says her father trusted Western promises before Libya's collapse, the report. Okay, so I agree with her. And I always said that the people who were advising Obama, they didn't have the best interests of the U.S., but they frame it in a way for Obama to see it in a different way in their perspective. Okay, so now this is Russia speaking. Breaking. Putin just exposed the U.S. Quote, the U.S. deliberately dragged Russia and Europe into this conflict. In that sense, they achieved their goal. They drove a wedge between us and Europe. Now they're shifting the economy burden into the EU. Let's not forget, in past videos where I said one of the problem Russia had is what's the NATO countries that were surrounding Russia. He didn't like it. So now that the US has been isolated against some of the NATO allies, so that's good for Russia. But then again, he took forever a war next door, which is what's the war? Ukraine. It was supposed to be in days, but we like what? How many? 2-3 years into it? But let's continue. This is the truth the West will never admit. Washington wanted war. Washington got war. Russia and Europe bleed. The US profits. Putin named the playbook divide, provoke, profit. Europeans freeze while Americans sell LNG. European industries collapse while US defense stocks soar. The wedge is real. The burden is shifted. The plan worked for Washington. Putin spoke at a Security Council meeting. Defense Minister Belousov beside him. Chief of Staff Gerasimov, that's the name here, beside him. The words are official. The warning is public. Europe should listen. The US is not an ally. It's the people they put. It's not like the rest of the world didn't pay attention. The world know how America is, especially the group that usually in power. When it's Republican, they have to watch their back. When they make an agreement with them, it's like they shake their hand and the finger crossed behind their back. When they make deal with Democrats, almost always, they stand by the thing. But with Trump, who should never be president again, so many people who have worked with him have put videos leading up to the 2024 election. Don't vote for him. But still, some MAGAs felt like he was the best person. And he's running the country like a business, his personal business, and using the military to do his business for him. All right, so that's that. Europe should listen. The U.S. is not an ally. It's an architect of conflict, of division, of dependency. The wedge was driven. The burden was shifted. The war continues, the people say. Putin said it. The world heard it. The question is, will Europe do anything about it? 1 minute and 41 seconds. But the problem is, they can't trust Putin as well because he has his own special interests. But the thing here, he also have to be careful. He already lost a whole bunch of guys himself with the war he started with Ukraine. But let's listen and then I go to the next tweet.
Соединенные Штаты, решив свои вот эти задачи текущего плана, значит, оторвав, как они считают, Украину, разорвав отношения России с Европой, в этом плане они добились того, чего хотели, к сожалению. Просто мы по-другому себя вести уже не могли. Или нужно было сдать все и смотреть, как они чавкают, съедая все подряд. Наша, исконно российская. Мы не могли так поступить. И они понимали, что мы не можем поступить, но делали специально. Они специально втащили нас и Европу в этот конфликт. Добились в этом смысле своей цели. Растащили Россию и Европу. А сейчас перекладывают на Европу еще и бремя финансовой ответственности и платежей. А безвольная, бесхребетная генерация сегодняшних политиков в Европе не может этому противостоять, имея в виду колоссальную зависимость в средствах массовой информации, в экономике, в политике. Там, знаете, куда пальцем не ткни, какое-нибудь крупное средство массовой информации в Европе. Конечный бенефициар — какие-нибудь американские фонды. Через 3-4 прокладки. Все там, все за океаном. А это влияние на политическую жизнь. С молодых ногтей, со студенческой скамьи еще приобретают там спецслужбы, значит, своих сторонников. Мы это знаем. И работают с ними, тащат их, значит, на политический олимп европейских стран.
As I wasn't really listening or read the caption, but the thing that came to mind as I was watching this is that when the war started with Ukraine, how much manpower Russia was losing and equipment and all sort of stuff. Who would have thought, okay, the Americans have lost actually more. Within a week, Americans have lost more than Russia have done, what, to its existence of the war of Ukraine? A lot of big machinery, ships, airplane, refueling, men and women. America lost more than Russia did. But the Trump administration don't want to put the numbers out. All right, next tweet. Let's listen to this. I can't believe this man is really starting to make sense to me on some things. One of two. Okay, I shared this on the very first video that I did. Well, it's 3 o'clock right now. I started recording since 11 p.m. So there was a lot to share with you. So I've shared that video already. But for the sake of this, let's listen to it again. One of two. Great point. Very well made. Carlson, Abraham's descendant are the one who have the right to this land, Palestine. Yes, absolutely. Carlson. Okay, why don't we do genetic testing on anyone in the land to find out who Abraham's descendants are? All right, let's listen. 2 minutes, and it continues. And there's more. I'll share all of them with you. All right, that would be the last one, unless when I go in it, if there's more. This one first.
Abram's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are? It's really simple. We've cracked the human genome. We can do that. Why don't we do that? Would you be against doing that?
I have no idea what that would prove. I mean,
Really?
maybe it would be.
What do you mean? It would prove who Abram's descendants are and who has a right to live here and who doesn't, according to the theology that you yourself just explained. And so I'm very confused as to why we don't do that. If you believe the theology that you've just explained to me.
Would we do that all over the world?
Well, this is the only country in the world that you've said has this covenant with God, that this people have a moral and legal right to the land.
But there are people who may not have bloodlines, but who have converted to Judaism. Are they going to be able to live here? Are you going to kick them out?
By your standards, they can't live here.
No,
because
no,
you
I've
just
never
told
said-
me
no,
that they have a right to live here because God gave them the land because they're the descendants of Abram.
The descendants of Abraham. But if they're the spiritual descendants of Abraham and they've now decided that they're converting to Judaism, then do they have a right to live in Israel?
Since you began this conversation by asking me, did I think they had a right to come here?
Yeah, that's
and
what
my question
Zionism is.
was, On what basis do they have the right?
Yeah.
And
And
you
I'm trying
said
to-
because God granted it to
Yeah,
them.
and I also said because that there should be a land where Jews can live in peace and safety.
And I asked you what a Jew was, and you couldn't answer it. You
No, I
said
didn't
it partly is religious, but doesn't have to be. It's partly genetic, but it doesn't have to be. And so that you can see why I'm
I think I was
confused.
very clear.
Bibi's family, we know they lived in Eastern Europe. There's no evidence they ever lived here. He's not religious.
But
in what sense?
ancestrally-
How do we know that? Do you have his family tree? No, we don't.
Do you?
He doesn't. No one does. That's the point.
But
so
if
how do
there
we
is-
know that he
but
has any
if they
connection
are
to this land at
Jewish,
all?
And if there has been a practice of Judaism and a connection to the language,
But
the
he
Bible,
doesn't-
the land,
His ancestors didn't. He doesn't practice Judaism in any rigorous way. His ancestors didn't live here. They didn't speak the language, and there's no evidence they ever lived here. So in the territory that Israel controls today, particularly in the West Bank, who, through genetic testing, we can know their families have been here for thousands of years. We don't know whether they practice Judaism.
Okay, when I first mentioned this on video 1 was the fact that he's making sense. Before, it's like he was spewing BS. So that's part 2 of it. This is why DNA testing is frowned upon in the perjured state of Israel. All right, 52 seconds.
Is any
if they
connection
are
to this land
Jewish,
at all?
and if there has been a practice of Judaism and a connection to the language,
But
the
he
Bible,
doesn't-
the land,
His ancestors didn't. He doesn't practice Judaism in any rigorous way. His ancestors didn't live here. They didn't speak the language, and there's no evidence they ever lived here. So in the territory that Israel controls today, particularly in the West Bank, who, through genetic testing, we can know their families have been here for thousands of years. We don't know whether they practiced Judaism, whether they were Samaritans, pre-Islam. We don't know that. A lot of them we know have been Christians for 2,000 years. They have less of a right to the land than someone whose ancestors, the only thing we know about them is they lived in Latvia or Poland. They're Eastern European. How does that work?
Okay, so there's that. There's more.
For the next
All right,
30
let's
days.
go into
Lent.
it. Are there more? All right, it's showing their connection. I'm not gonna go into that. Only the videos I'm sharing. Ted Cruz. All right, let's focus on this. 2 minutes, 8 seconds. Make this shit go viral. All right, let's listen.
I am reading the good book for the next 40 days for Lent. It's the fastest I've ever read through it. I've read through it 4 or 5 times before, but this time I'm learning some new things. Like, for example, the people who went north are the sons of Japheth. Look who the sons of Japheth include. The Ashkenaz. That means the Ashkenaz are from Japheth, not from Shem. Which means they are not, in fact, Shemites. They are not, in fact, in a covenant with the Lord God Almighty. They do not, in fact, have any claim to the land in the Levant. Because they're from the wrong son of Noah. Shem was the grandfather of Abraham. Shem was the grandfather of Jacob, not Japheth. These folks went north into Turkey. And if you know, you know. So, don't we think it's time to end this? Don't we think it's time to end this game that they've been playing? Acting like they're out here fighting Amalek? Ridiculous. The Ashkenaz are not Shemites. Love y'all. Keep your head on a swivel.
May the Palestinian not only be free, but may those rest in peace. I think they really sacrificed themselves for the rest of the world to see what was going on. All right, so a lot of things going on. I'll share as much as I can. U.S. government should be mandated to return tons of gold bars stolen from Iraq before allowing its citizens to move out of Iraq. Who knows? Trump probably already moved these things to his own personal thing. Oh my God. Okay, let me go back so I could click. This is something else. Alright, so this is the tweet. Breaking, the US has been run out of Baghdad, green zone. This is historic. Alright, 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
Some breaking news considering the situation in the Middle East. We're hearing from the United States that all US citizens should leave Iraq immediately. That warning coming in the last few moments. So you'll remember we told you that Iraqi security officials have said a missile struck the US embassy compound in Baghdad, reportedly hitting a helipad. A fire, as you can see, being set on the roof of the embassy. Well, now we're being told all US personnel and citizens must leave Iraq. Iran and Iraq-aligned terrorist militia groups pose a significant threat to public safety in Iraq. The statement says there have been attacks against US citizens, US interests, critical infrastructure as well. These groups have attacked US diplomatic facilities, US businesses and US-operated energy infrastructure and have threatened to continue targeting them. The statement goes on to say Iran-aligned terrorist militia have also attacked hotels frequented by foreigners and other facilities with US ties throughout Iraq. Americans face risk of kidnapping and individual Americans have been targeted. Iran-aligned terrorist militia may impede Iraqi authorities' ability to respond effectively in an emergency. The statement concludes US citizens should leave Iraq now. US citizens choosing to remain in Iraq are strongly encouraged to reconsider in light of the significant threat posed by Iran-aligned terrorist militia groups. So the message, very simple and very clear. US citizens should leave Iraq now, and the government, the American government, is going to facilitate that for anyone who is wanting to leave. The Americans are going to make that possible. As you can see in the message posted on social media, the message for US citizens is that travel advisory is at level 4, which is the highest security risk.
Trump didn't make it safe for Americans at all. He put lives of Americans worse globally. All right, next tweet. All right, they're rebuilding the plantation that burned down last year because white people want to keep getting married there. I don't know. I think I did share it in one of my videos. Could have been 2 or 3 years ago. All right, but let's listen. I'm not gonna go in the comments. You could pause and read this. But let's listen to this and then I'll move to the next tweet.
Do y'all remember when the Nottoway plantation in Louisiana mysteriously burned down last year? I'm Leah Williams, and we now know the cause of the fire, and we also have an update on reconstruction. Nottoway was the largest remaining antebellum plantation in the South, sitting right along the Mississippi River in White Castle, Louisiana. Now Nottoway serves as a resort with rooms to stay in, a pool, a spa, a restaurant, and the main house that was destroyed was mainly for weddings and events. The owner told me the cause of the fire was electrical. Because of the age of the house, all of the wiring wasn't up to modern code. So what's next? Again, the owner is rebuilding, and his goal is to build an exact replica of that house that burned down. Right now, the property is being cleaned up ahead of demolition. Then it will be rebuilt after that. Obviously, this is a very controversial move.
I'm glad that it burned down. It was a place that held a lot of harsh memories. Tell the right history. You don't try to draw them in with buying gifts out of a gift shop or having a spa so they can go. Like, that's not what that plantation was.
I asked the owner, Dan Dice, over the phone, what would you say to the people that don't support this reconstruction?
We know and we recognize that slavery was a bad part of American history. We are going to recognize the people, the slaves. We're going to recognize, we're going to have some kind of memorial.
That reconstruction is expected to take 2 to 3 years. Right now, though, Nottoway is still open and still has 40 rooms available to stay in while they're rebuilding. Now, let me know in the comments what you think.
They need money. It brings them money, so that's why. All right, next tweet. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's pause. Captain Abraham Taro knew that if Burkina Faso had good roads, businesses will flow and the economy will grow rapidly. Today, Burkina Faso economy is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. 39 seconds. Oops, come on.
Foreign companies looked Captain Traoré in the eye and said, 10 years, 10 years, just to build one road. Even clearing it first, 3 years minimum. They said it with a straight face. So Traoré smiled, bought the equipment himself, and handed it to Burkina Bay engineers. 52 days later, 332 kilometers, cleared, done. While the foreign experts were still writing proposals, day and night these men worked. No 10-year timeline, no inflated contracts, no middlemen flying home with briefcases, just results. And people still call this country unstable. Which part exactly? The part where they stopped being exploited. So tell me, how many 10-year projects are actually just deliberate? Foreign companies looked Captain Traoré in the eye and said, 10.
I just saw some tweets that I'm moving to the next. Let me pause. All right, looks like I have this twice, so I just remove it. All right, so there's more of this. All right, you could pause and read. Let's go to the next one. This has to do with Senegal. I have one more. I just moved some stuff over. Okay, breaking. Senegal just dropped the hammer. 71 mining licenses revoked, accounts frozen, $438 million payment dispute, sweeping resources overhaul. This is what sovereignty looks like. Not speeches, not resolutions, just action. For decades, foreign companies took Senegal's minerals, paid what they wanted, left what they chose, control what they could. This is what I hope Haiti is paying attention. This is what they want for Haiti. They want to take control and live whatever they want to live and take everything else that they want. Not anymore. The government just said, pay what you owe, follow the rules, or get out. 71 licenses gone, millions frozen. The message is clear. Senegal is not for sale. Okay, this is the wave. Niger did it. Burkina did it. Mali did it. Now Senegal. The continent is waking up, one country at a time, one license at a time, one frozen account at a time. The West will scream, the companies will sue, the pressure will come, but Senegal just showed the spine. The rest of Africa should take note. The resources belong to the people, not the corporation, not to former colonizers, not to anyone who doesn't respect the law. Senegal just proved it. Who's next? All right, so this is a screenshot. Senegal revokes 71 mining licenses, freezes accounts over $438 million, payment dispute, and sweeping resource overhaul. You know what that, that's a freaking long thread. I don't want to read. You could pause and read, okay? So it's a long thread. I've been recording for a long time. Pause and read it, okay? There's that. Let me finish this video. I've been recording since 11 p.m. Now it's 3:30 a.m. I need to at least edit something before I get tired. All right, so this is my last one. Obama did it better. 1 minute and 41 seconds. All right, are there any other comments?
Obama did it better. Obama did it better. The new talking point from MAGA is, well, Obama dropped bombs too. Yeah, he did. And he did it better. Obama was able to use surgical strikes and limited military operations to take out targets and not start a fucking war. How about that shit? He did it better. In fact, most of the things that the Trumpies like about Trump, Obama did better. We'll go with unemployment. Obama did better. Economy. Obama did better. Deportations. Obama did better. He was able to deport way more people than Donald Trump, and he's able to do it on 1/10 of the freaking budget. Yeah? And without sending fucking goon squads into American cities. Obama did it better. Obama was able to get across a healthcare bill. Trump can't. Obama did it better. Obama was able to get tax cuts for the low and middle class. Trump, for the upper class, for the rich. Obama did it better. So trying to say that Obama did it too on any subject just shows the failure of Trump and the failure of his people to recognize that everything that Trump said Obama did it fucking better. They just don't like that a black man did it better than a white man. And one last point, let's not forget that Obama was able to get Iran to enter into a non-proliferation treaty for nukes. Trump couldn't do it, so Obama did it better. Deportations.
Mr. Speaker, let me return to the Rwanda Migration and Economic Development Partnership. So 2.5 years after the previous government launched it, I can report it has already cost the British taxpayer £700 million in order to send just 4 volunteers. Those costs include £290 million payments to Rwanda, chartering flights that never took off, detaining hundreds of people and then releasing them, and paying for more than 1,000 civil servants to work on the scheme. A scheme to send 4 people. It is the most shocking waste of taxpayers' money I have ever seen. Looking forward, the costs are set to get worse. Even if the scheme had ever got going, it's clear it would only cover a minority of arrivals. Yet a substantial portion of future costs were fixed costs. For example, the annual direct payments to Rwanda, the contracts for escorts, the staffing in the Home Office, the detention and reception centres, and more. So the taxpayer would still have to pay out no matter how few people were relocated. And most shocking of all, over the 6 years of the Migration and Economic Development Partnership forecast, the previous government had planned to spend over £10 billion of taxpayers' money on the scheme. They did not tell Parliament that. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Rwandan government for working with the UK in good faith, because the failure for this policy lies with the previous UK government. It has been a costly con, and the taxpayer has had to pay the price.
Deportations. Obama did better.
That's a very good point. Okay, so that is all. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. All right, there's a lot. You could pause as I scroll down and read some of the comments here. It's too much. All right, so that's it. Thank you for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness and please come back.